there seemed to be some preconceptions that this run in Dark Souls 2 was going to be a redemption run, and that I was going to go through the game with Stream Chat completely closed, and I was going to just blind run through the game and try to beat it a second time. If you guys remember, when I played Dark Souls 2 the first time, the build that I had started out as more of a defensive class build with a little bit of like magic, cleric style magic, but then I ended up going full on like white cleric magic into lightning spear attack spam, and by the end of the game my lightning spears were so powerful I was killing bosses with like 2 hits. Pull out my trusty lightning first, see how much damage it does to this boss. Alright, here we go.
Shoot!
Wow, what a tough battle. That was a great soul.
Oh no! That one. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, and a lot of people had issue with that. A lot of people didn't, but a lot of people did. It's kind of like it was a 50-50 split. Some people were like, well, look, it's legit. It's in the game. There's nothing wrong with it. If From Software put it into the game, that's From Software's choice. It's a game design thing, right? No one should hold it against Phil for using a game mechanic that's in the game.
Now, this is classic DSP mentality right here. He claims that everyone was saying it was legit and allowed, and nearly everyone thought it was okay. Now, this is Phil projecting what he wants the masses to be saying, and it's just not true. Phil likes to make claims himself and say it was said by his audience so that it looks like the entire chat agrees with him, when in reality, most of the chat wants something completely different. In these cases, DSP passes it off as hate or trolling towards him, though not to accept the real issue that's occurring. This does change, however, when DSP asks for help or stalls for help. When he's stuck in an area where he cannot advance at all, he essentially holds the viewer hostage until something can be figured out, often stating that he won't move unless someone gives him the real strategy. In these cases, it shows how Phil really thinks, how it's everyone else's job to help him as he streams a game. Personally, most of the streams that I watch are due to the fact that the player is good at the game, and I don't want to be watching so I can read the chat telling that streamer where to go next and how to perform next action. Phil does have a long history of doing this, where he has to be right. If he doesn't know the answer, it's the viewer's fault for not giving him the answer sooner or showing him.
On the flip side, a lot of people were like, well, Phil somehow, by chance, managed to run into the one thing that was unbalanced in the game, and, you know, it's a shame because the playthrough would have been better if Phil had gone... By the way, now my PS4 is booted up and the surround sound's working, FYI. That's why you hear noise. You know, it would have been better if Phil did a more melee class, because he really didn't play it legit. It was cheap, the way he was destroying everything. Incredibly poorly thought out boss fight. I don't even know what's going on. I didn't even do anything. Dude, I did nothing and he started drinking an Estus flask. And then also, if you remember, I grinded a ton in Dark Souls 2. What I would do, and this is the truth, at night, after I had live streamed gameplay, I would go into a certain, whatever area I was in currently in the game, alright? And I would run through that area, killing all the enemies repeatedly, over and over and over and over, in order to grind. And I gained a ton of souls and levels that way. In fact, I even kindled the fires after the enemy stopped respawning, and then would do it again. So...
Yes, Phil, we understand how farming works, and how using a bonfire aesthetic not only brings back the enemies, but also the bosses, giving you a chance to farm those souls as well.
I did a ridiculous amount of grinding when I played the first Dark Souls 2 run, alright? Now, the reason I did that, okay, was because I wanted the playthrough to progress and be fun, and not that I would be stuck on certain segments of the game for hours on end and have no progress. Imagine if I had streamed 3-4 hour sessions when I never got out of an area, because maybe I was under-leveled or whatever. So I just wanted the playthrough to be fun and keep moving along, rather than get stuck and be boring. But of course, you're always going to have people who, oh, how dare he grind, how dare he use this abusive strategy, blah, blah, blah.
So Phil states he wants the run to be fun, but for the people who don't see the idea of him destroying all of the bosses fun, he wipes them away as haters and can't be bothered. He wants the gameplay to be completely tailored towards him, and he feels that everyone should agree with him. He also talks how there would be no advancing in different areas due to being underleveled, which is why he had to farm so much off stream. Mostly from what I've seen is that level doesn't play a huge factor in it, but a big part is skill of the player.
So, now that I came back to Dark Souls 2 3 years later and the Scholar of the First Sin run, alright, I decided that the difference between the original and this was that I was not going to use magic at all. I was going to do a pure melee style build, and I got a ton of recommendations of things that I should do, but the one that seemed to be the most common recommendation, and the one that a lot of people said I should try, is the power stance, because it's completely unique to Dark Souls 2. You can never do a dual-wielding power stance in any other Dark Souls game. It's very unique to this game. Because of that, I said, okay, sounds good. Well, that sounds so different, right? And it is. I mean, this build that I'm using basically turns the game into Bloodborne. I don't have a shield. I don't have defense. I'm reliant on just dodging around everything and then counterattacking. And yes, of course, you're doing tons of damage, but the trade-off is you're basically a glass cannon. You take tons of damage and you have to dodge a lot of shit in order to land a few hits here and a few hits there in order to survive. It's very, very different from the Dark Souls gameplay that I'm used to. And I just got this build going yesterday, and I died a ton, right? I died a ton using it because I wasn't used to it. In fact, it seems to me that I will probably die a lot in these stages, like the actual areas getting to the bosses, but because I deal so much damage, I'll probably run through the bosses quickly, but it's going to be the areas, the stages themselves that are going to kill me a lot.
A lot of Phil likes to explain very simple ideas to his viewers as if they have no idea what he's talking about. He likes to talk as if he knows everything about one such idea, and he must explain it to every single viewer in the most complex way so that they might understand what he's talking about. When there's a very good chance that Phil himself had not even known or even any knowledge of that specific idea beforehand unless it was explained to him either through his contacts or through his stream itself.
Alright, now, here's the deal, folks. I'm okay with that, and I'm loving the run. I think it's so different from the original run. But again, we still got people who gotta fucking whine and complain and say that nothing's ever good enough for them, right? It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how I play. No matter what I do, I will never get any kind of respect from certain people, and they're gonna whine and complain no matter what, right? So there's a group of people out there who are saying, oh, Phil, he's talking to stream chat too much during the playthrough, which is the point, by the way, of me live streaming, is the interaction with the stream chat, getting their opinions on things, getting some advice. No, I'm not asking them specifically, how do I beat this guy? I can't get him. No, but at the same time, if I'm trying to figure out, geez, this ring good? Would this help my build and stuff like that? Yeah, that's legitimate, and that's part of the streaming interaction experience. That's the point of fucking Twitch. Literally, that's the point of Twitch. Okay? So, the fact that anyone would complain about it is just so fucking stupid. This is not 2012 anymore, where I'm doing offline playthroughs, and there's no interaction, and there's none of that, alright? It's that simple, and you've got to realize that. And if you didn't realize that from when I started my different streaming method back in March, well, you had over 4 months to realize that, okay? So, at this point, it's not my fault, it's your fault.
And this is where we get a real good look of who Phil is through his persona of DSP. We start to see that nothing is ever his fault, and even if he changes anything, everyone must know exactly what's going on with no questions asked. This is actually one of the biggest things that bothers me about Phil. The idea that there are people out there who support him and try to help him, people who genuinely care about what he's playing and doing, and he just treats them like they don't matter to him whatsoever. Most examples stem from when he does his begging vlogs in the past year or so, where he talks about how it's his viewers' responsibility to keep him afloat financially with his expenses and lifestyle. How it's his viewers that are the reason that he cannot do other things other than stream because there wasn't enough donated to him. And that's the idea that bothers me the most about Phil. He never treats his viewers right, he never takes their ideas into consideration, and he never wants to change even though it could save him from falling under. He had to do the begging vlogs in order to create some sort of income due to the fact that longtime subscribers or even viewers had started to realize that he doesn't care about anyone except himself. And they started leaving, which resulted in lower view counts, lower subscriber counts, and overall dropping him on the YouTube list, which made it to where he wasn't making as much money. And instead of taking other options such as getting a full-time job or even a part-time job to make money, he then turns back to the viewers, asks them for more money because it's their fault that other people have started to walk away.
But the truth of the matter is, I think that it's not... I don't think that the core of people who are here to watch me play games and have fun, and the people who are here and are going to support me through things like talking with me in stream chat, and having those interactions, and let's be honest, the people who are cheering, subbing, and tipping, those people aren't the people complaining. It's the whiners who are so angry that I'm having fun playing the game. And that's the bottom line. Last night on Twitter, I tweeted, wow, I think I had the best session ever of Dark Souls on stream today. Like, the best I've ever done. You know, what a difference from my first run in Dark Souls 2. Now, some people read that and said, wow, Phil's really having a lot of fun with the game with his second run. That's cool. I'll check it out. And then others said, Phil's bragging about how good he is in Dark Souls 2, but he has an overpowered build, and he's taking advice from the stream chat. Therefore, everything he's doing is illegitimate. He's up to his old shenanigans. What a turd. Har, har, har. Now, wait a minute. Where in my tweet did I brag that I'm good at Dark Souls 2? I didn't. I never said that. But when I tweet, oh, it's the best run I've ever done, and it's different from the first run, people want to twist it into something that it's not. And that's their own fucking fault. If you come in with a preconceived notion of something, like, oh, this is the redemption run of Dark Souls 2. Oh, this is Phil getting good at Dark Souls 2. And then you're disappointed because you created a preconceived notion that no one promised you, that's your fault. And that's your shortcoming, not mine, and not anyone else who's having fun with the playthrough. Yours. Okay? And I'm fully aware that there's a group of people out there who just wanted to come by and watch me fail at Dark Souls 2. Guess what? Those people don't cheer, those people don't sub, those people don't tip, those people use ad block on YouTube to fuck me over, and these are the people who would rather see me never make a video again on YouTube.
Wrapping up, I thought this would be a simple way to show how Phil not only thinks, but runs his channels. I personally don't think he'll last too much longer unless he changes the way he interacts with everyone. Unfortunately for him, people are getting sick of trying to be manipulated by him. So we should all sit back and just watch what happens. So thank you for watching. Special thanks to Freywa for inspiring me to make this video. A link to that channel will be posted below in the description.